What if I told you that there are things lurking in the dark? Things that we are not meant to see. Shapes moving just outside the reach of our senses, waiting and watching. But what happens when technology allows us to peer beyond the veil, to glimpse at what was never meant for human eyes? During the Vietnam War, soldiers were given a powerful advantage: the ability to see in the pitch-black jungle through nearly developed night vision goggles. But soon, whispers spread across the ranks. It wasn't just enemy movement they saw through the eerie red glow. Some claimed to see figures that weren't human. Demons. Was this a trick of the mind? The product of exhaustion or fear? Or did the night vision unlock something hidden? Something beyond our realm of perception? Animals can see things humans can't. Certain wavelengths of light. Movement that evades our sluggish eyesight. Could it be that, for a brief moment in time, soldiers stumbled onto something truly unexplainable? Welcome to Down the Crooked Path. I'm your host, Amanda Joy. Join me as we dive into eerie and spine-chilling stories that blur the lines between reality and the unknown. From cryptids and mysterious disappearances to true crime, UFO sightings, and paranormal activity. Venture into the unknown and uncover the secrets that lie down the crooked path. Tonight, we're peeling back the layers of perception, questioning what we are truly capable of seeing. Our vision is limited, filtered through biology, experience, and expectations. But what if we had the right tools, the right training? Could we glimpse what lies beyond our daily reality? Night vision, ultralight, thermal imaging. Each reveals a hidden world just beyond our reach. Animals perceive colors at different wavelengths we'll never naturally experience, sensing movements too subtle for the human eye. And yet, in rare moments, technology grants us a fleeting glimpse into the unknown. But the question remains, are we uncovering secrets that were always there? Or are we simply distorting reality? Technology born from war has always changed the way we see the world, sometimes in ways we never expected. The battlefield demands innovation, pushing science to break barriers, accelerate discoveries, and redefine human limits. From the first radar systems to drones, artificial intelligence, medical advancements, and yes, night vision goggles, warfare has shaped the very tools we now use in everyday life. During World War I, trench warfare led to devastating facial injuries, forcing surgeons to develop new techniques to rebuild shattered jaws, noses, and eye sockets. The pioneering work of Harold Giles, a British surgeon, laid the foundation for modern reconstructive surgery. He introduced skin grafting and flap techniques, allowing soldiers to regain some semblance of normalcy after horrific injuries. His patients, known as the Guinea Pig Club, underwent experimental procedures that would later revolutionize the field. By World War II, advancements in anesthesia and antiseptics made reconstructive surgery more effective, leading to techniques that are still used today. The need to repair burns, shrapnel wounds, and severe trauma pushed surgeons to redefine skin grafting, microsurgery, and tissue expansion. Innovations that now benefit civilians undergoing reconstructive procedures for accidents, birth defects, and medical conditions. What began as a necessity for war survivors has evolved into a field that restores lives far beyond the battlefield. Whether repairing cleft palates, reconstructing limbs, or refining facial features, plastic surgery remains one of the most profound medical advancements born from conflict. Drones, or unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, were originally developed for military purposes, but today they've become an essential part of modern life. Their journey from warfare to civilian use is a testament to how technology born from conflict can reshape the world in unexpected ways. During World War I, early drone-like devices were tested as aerial torpedoes, but it wasn't until the Vietnam War that drones became widely used for reconnaissance and surveillance. These remotely piloted aircrafts allowed soldiers to gain intelligence without risking human lives. Over time, military drones evolved into precision strike weapons, capable of carrying out missions with minimal human intervention. Fast forward to today, and drones are everywhere. What was once a tool for warfare is now used for filmmaking, agriculture, disaster relief, and even package delivery. Companies like Amazon are exploring drone-based shipping, while farmers use UAVs to monitor crops and optimize irrigation. Drones also play a crucial role in search and rescue missions, reaching areas that would be too dangerous for humans. The military origins of drones may be rooted in conflict, but their impact on civilian life has been transformative. From capturing breathtaking aerial footage to revolutionizing logistics, drones are a perfect example of how war-driven innovation can find new purpose in peace. But not all war-inspired innovations work out. Some simply don't work. Others only have short-term uses or prove to be ineffective. And some things, well, maybe they're just not meant for this world. The Vietnam War was unlike any conflict American troops had faced before. The dense, suffocating jungle swallowed them whole, turning every step into a battle against the terrain itself. The air was thick with humidity, clinging to their skins like a second layer, while the relentless heat drained their strength. The ground beneath them was treacherous, mud so deep it could swallow a boot, rivers teeming with leeches, and thick vegetation that made visibility nearly impossible. But it wasn't just the jungle that made survival brutal. Disease was an ever-present enemy. Malaria, dysentery, and infections thrived in the unsanitary conditions, weakening soldiers before they ever even faced the enemy. The rain was relentless, turning camps into swamps and soaking uniforms until they became like a second skin. Sleep was a luxury, stolen in brief moments between ambush and air fire. And then there was the darkness. At night, the jungle became an abyss. Thick canopies blocked out even the faintest moonlight, leaving soldiers in a world of shadows. The enemy moved like ghosts, unseen but always present. The eerie silence was broken only by the distant rustling of leaves. Was it the wind, an animal, or something far more dangerous? The fear of unseen threats was constant, gnawing at their nerves. Night vision technology was in its infancy, unreliable and limited. Soldiers relied on their instincts, their training, and the occasional flare to illuminate the battlefield for mere seconds before plunging back into darkness. The war was fought in the shadows, where paranoia and exhaustion blurred the lines between reality and nightmare. This was Vietnam, a war where the jungle itself seemed to conspire against those who fought within it. For centuries, darkness was one of the greatest obstacles in warfare. Battles fought at night were chaotic, unpredictable, and often avoided altogether. Soldiers relied on flare, torches, and moonlight, none of which provided clarity needed to navigate the battlefield safely. But everything changed with the invention of night vision technology. The first practical night vision devices emerged just before World War II, developed in Germany and later refined by the Allies. These early infrared scopes were bulky, requiring massive searchlights to function, but they gave soldiers an unprecedented advantage in low-light combat. By the Vietnam War, night vision had evolved into passive image intensification, allowing troops to see without infrared illuminators. The Starlight scope was a handheld device, and it became a crucial tool for soldiers to navigate these dense jungle terrains. In Vietnam, where thick canopies blocked out even the faintest moonlight, night vision goggles became a lifeline. They allowed soldiers to spot enemy movements, avoid ambushes, and operate with precision in near total darkness. The ability to see beyond human limitations was revolutionary, but it also came with unexpected consequences. As night vision technology advanced, the military experimented with different wavelengths, some of which produced terrifying results. The introduction of red spectrum night vision led to unsettling reports from some soldiers who claimed they saw demons, winged entities, and spectral figures lurking in the jungle. Cliff High has shared a chilling account from his father, a soldier who led helicopter troops during the Vietnam War. His team was among the first to test red spectrum night vision goggles, an experimental technology designed to enhance visibility in the pitch-black jungle. But what they saw through those lenses was something no one had prepared them for. As they flew over the jungle, scanning for enemy movement, one of the gunners suddenly panicked. He screamed, his voice cutting through the radio chatter, and he began firing wildly into the darkness. But he wasn't shooting towards the ground. He was shooting into the air, nearly missing the other helicopters in their group. His fellow soldiers shouted for him to stop, but he was convinced there was something out there. Through the red-tinted lenses, he saw winged creatures, twisted figures, and entities that defied explanation. And they weren't just lurking in the jungle below. They were flying alongside the helicopter, keeping pace with them, and more disturbingly, watching them. The gunner was in full-blown terror, convinced that they were under attack. The winged demon creatures were pointing at him, as if they could see him as well, and were utterly shocked by this. Cliff's father, unable to see anything with his bare eyes, knew that he had to act fast. He tackled the gunner, wrestling him to the back of the chopper before he wasted more ammunition, whatever horrors he believed he was seeing, or shot down one of their fellow choppers. The man fought back, desperate to keep firing, but Cliff's father held him down. Then, in a moment of grim curiosity, he grabbed the red spectrum goggles and placed them over his own eyes, and what he saw changed everything. The jungle below was alive with movement, but not enemy soldiers. Writhing creatures, shadowy figures, and things that just should not exist. Some appeared to be climbing the helicopter, clawing at the air as if trying to reach them. Others flew alongside them. Their hazy forms were undeniably present. The terror was overwhelming. The military quickly abandoned red spectrum technology, shifting to the familiar green spectrum night vision that's still used today. But the questions remain. Did red lenses reveal something that was always there, hidden beyond human perception? Or did they distort reality in ways that the mind couldn't comprehend? Cliff High's father and his men never forgot what they saw. And to this day, the story lingers, a haunting reminder that sometimes technology doesn't just illuminate the battlefield, it exposes the unknown. The reports from soldiers using red spectrum night vision goggles were unsettling. Stories of shadowy figures and spectral entities spread among the troops, creating fear and confusion. But there was another factor that could have been at play: heroin addiction. By the early 1970s, heroin use among U.S. troops in Vietnam had skyrocketed. Studies revealed that over 15% of soldiers were addicted, and as many as 35% had tried heroin at least once. The drug was cheap, potent, and readily available, flooding into Vietnam from the Golden Triangle, one of the world's largest opium-producing regions. Soldiers desperate for an escape from the horrors of war turned to heroin to numb their pain, both physical and emotional. So when reports of dynamic visions through red spectrum goggles surfaced, the military had to ask, were these hallucinations caused by the goggles, or were they the result of drug-induced paranoia? The answer was unclear. Some soldiers who had never touched heroin reported seeing the same terrifying figures, while others who were deep in addiction experienced even more extreme visions. The military had a choice: continue testing the technology or quietly phase it out. They chose the latter. Almost as quickly as they had been introduced, red spectrum night vision goggles were abandoned. The official reason? Operating inefficiency. The red tint was said to distort visibility, making it harder to distinguish real threats from illusions. But among those who had tried them, the whispers told a different story. Some reports suggest that the military classified certain findings relating to the goggles, burying the unsettling accounts deep within restricted files. Others believe that the technology was deliberately suppressed, deemed too unpredictable for combat use. Instead, the military shifted to green spectrum night vision, which remains standard today. There are even some claims that the red spectrum technology was banned, with rumors circulating that chemical dicyanate, used in early red tinting optics, was restricted due to its alleged ability to reveal unseen entities. Dicyanin is no ordinary chemical. Originally developed for scientific research, this deep blue dye was used in spectrochemical studies and astronomical imaging, helping scientists filter light and observe hidden details in the electromagnetic spectrum. But beyond its limited applications, dicyanate became infamous for something far stranger: its alleged ability to reveal the unseen. In the early 90s, British medical electrician Walter John Kellner experimented with dicyanate, claiming that when placed between two glass plates, it allowed people to see human auras, energy fields supposedly surrounding living beings. His book, The Human Atmosphere, detailed his findings, suggesting that dicyanin acted as a bridge between the visible and invisible, exposing layers of energy normally hidden from the naked eye. Kellner's work was met with skepticism, dismissed by mainstream science as unsubstantiated. But among paranormal researchers, his claim sparked intrigue. If dicyanin could reveal auras, it could also expose other hidden forces. Things lurking just beyond human perception? Perhaps. Over time, dicyanin became linked to supernatural theories. Some believed that the dye could be used to see into the astral plane, a dimension beyond physical world, where spirits, entities, and otherworldly beings reside. Others speculated that dicyanin enhanced vision might allow other people to perceive interdimensional beings, shadow figures, or even extraterrestrial life. Rumors spread that the U.S. government had restricted or banned dicyanin, allegedly due to its potential to reveal classified energy fields or supernatural entities. However, there is no official evidence that dicyanin is illegal. It remains readily available for laboratory use in astronomy and spectrochemical research. If dicyanin truly had the ability to filter light in unique ways, it's possible that military researchers explored its potential for night vision applications. The Vietnam War was fought in dense jungle terrains, where visibility was severely limited. The military was desperate for advanced optical technology, and dicyanin's ability to manipulate light might have made it an intriguing candidate for experimental night vision goggles. Some theories suggest that dicyanin's light-filtering properties could have enhanced infrared or ultraviolet vision, potentially revealing hidden wavelengths beyond the normal human perception. If this were true, it could explain why soldiers reported seeing strange entities through the red spectrum goggles. Perhaps they were glimpsing something that was always there, just beyond the visible spectrum. While the military quickly abandoned red spectrum night vision, the mystery surrounding dicyanin remains. Was it simply an ineffective experiment, or did it expose something the military wasn't prepared to confront? And dicyanin isn't the only substance shrouded in mystery. There's another chemical that has long been tied to alchemy, warfare, and destruction. One that has earned a far darker reputation. Red phosphorus. Known as the devil's element due to its dangerous elements and effects, phosphorus was first discovered in 1669 by the German alchemist Henning Brand, who was searching for the legendary Philosopher's Stone, a mythical substance said to grant immortality and unlimited wealth. Instead, he found a material that glowed eerily in the dark, burned with intense heat, and reacted violently to the air. It wasn't the key to eternal life, but it was something far more unpredictable. Phosphorus quickly became a tool of war, used in incendiary bombs, explosives, and chemical weapons. Unlike dicyanin, which was rumored to reveal unseen dimensions, red phosphorus was feared for its ability to destroy. Military strategists recognized its power, harnessing it for warfare in ways that blurred the lines between innovation and horror. During World War II, phosphorus-based weapons were used to create smokescreens, firebombs, and chemical agents, devastating enemy troops. Later, it became a key ingredient in match productions, nerve agents, and even poisons. Soldiers in Vietnam were no strangers to phosphorus-based weaponry, as white phosphorus grenades were deployed to burn through enemy defenses, leaving behind horrifying injuries. But the real question is, did phosphorus play a role in the red spectrum night vision technology? Some theories suggest that red phosphorus may have been incorporated in early optical experiments, possibly to enhance light filtration, heat detection, or even contrast. If true, this could explain why soldiers experienced bizarre hallucinations, spectral figures, and terrifying visions. Was it simply flawed technology, or did phosphorus have an unexpected effect on human vision? But what if the answer wasn't supernatural? What if soldiers weren't seeing demons or interdimensional beings, but instead were victims of their own overworked minds and distorted visions? The human eye simply isn't designed to process monochromatic red spectrum vision. When soldiers switched to red goggles, their depth perception, contrast, and ability to identify objects were dramatically altered. The jungle was already chaotic, shifting environment, filled with dense vegetation, moving shadows, and the unpredictability of the enemy. The red lenses may have exaggerated these elements, blurring edges, creating false movements, and twisting familiar shapes into something unrecognizable. Some optical phenomenon, like Troxler fading, makes objects in the peripheral field disappear or distort over time. In complete darkness, when the vision is strained, The brain attempts to fill in missing details, sometimes generating phantom shapes or exaggerating movements when none exist. The soldiers may have been victims to their own overworked visual systems, turning branches into figures, shifting leaves into creatures, and mere shadows into terrifying forms. Even without visual distortions, the mental toll of war is enough to induce terrifying hallucinations in soldiers. The Vietnam War was one of the most psychologically grueling conflicts in history. Dense jungle combat, relentless ambushes, the constant fear of the unseen enemy, sleep deprivation, sensory overload, and trauma caused by many soldiers to hallucinate or misinterpret their surroundings. A state of hypervigilance, where soldiers were constantly expecting danger, meant that their minds were primed to perceive threats, perhaps even where none existed. The night vision goggles were already warping their perception. Combining an intense stress could have pushed them into full-blown hallucinations, making them believe they were seeing terrifying creatures in the darkness. Some soldiers were also battling heroin addiction. Heroin withdrawals cause paranoia, visual distortions, and severe anxiety, making it even harder for soldiers to trust what they were seeing. War is more than just bloodshed and strategy. It is a force that leaves behind echoes of suffering, lingering in the very ground where soldiers fought and died. Across centuries, warriors have reported ghostly apparitions, spectral figures, and eerie encounters on battlefields soaked in tragedy. Whether these visions are psychological manifestations or true supernatural phenomenons, one thing is certain. War leaves behind far more than ruins. It leaves behind ghosts. Some believe that battlefields become spiritual graveyards, places where souls of fallen soldiers remain trapped. The sheer intensity of war, the fear, the pain, the final moments of thousands, creates a psychic residue, replaying itself like a broken record. Some soldiers have reported hearing phantom gunfire, seen shadowy figures move through the smoke, and even encountered entire ghostly battalions marching silently through ruins. At Gettysburg, one of the bloodiest battles in the American Civil War, the echoes of war seem to still linger in the very soil. Visitors and historians alike have reported seeing ghostly soldiers still marching across the fields, their spectral forms barely distinguishable from the morning mist. Some appear as shadowy figures moving in formation, while others are full-bodied apparitions, their uniforms tattered, their faces locked in expressions of grim determination. The battlefield itself seems to breathe with the past. Some claim to hear distant cannon fire, the thunderous roar reverberating through the hills as if the battle never truly ended. Others have heard sharp crack of musket fire, followed by the agonizing cries of men long dead. Eerie sounds come without warning, sometimes in the dead of night, sometimes in broad daylight, leaving visitors frozen in place, listening to a war that refuses to be forgotten. Perhaps most unsettling are the reports of Union and Confederation troops locked in an endless battle, their spectral forms engaging in combat that defies time. Witnesses have described seeing soldiers charging across the field, only to vanish before reaching their destination. Some have even claimed to see ghostly figures laying wounded, their bodies flickering in and out of existence, as if trapped in their final moments. Gettysburg stands as one of America's most haunted battlefields, a place where the past refuses to rest. But across the ocean, another battlefield whispers its own ghostly tales. Normandy. On June 6, 1944, the beaches of Normandy bore witness to one of the most pivotal moments in history, D-Day. Thousands of soldiers stormed the shores, breathing gunfire, explosions, and the chaos of battle. Many never made it past the waterline. The sand was soaked in blood, the air thick with smoke, and the screams of dying men faded into history. Or did they? Even today, visitors to Normandy report phantom soldiers appearing in the early morning mist, their spectral forms barely distinguishable from the rolling waves. Some seem to be marching along the shoreline, locked in silent formation, as if still following their final orders. Others stand motionless, staring out at the ocean, waiting for a battle that has long since ended. Then there are the voices, the chilling sound of distant gunfire, the sharp crack of rifles ringing through the air, the distant echoes of men shouting, pleading, and calling out for help. Some say they hear commands barked in different languages, as if the spirits of the Allied and Axis forces remain forever intertwined in this place of devastation. War is a place of extreme emotion, suffering, and death, and for centuries, soldiers have reported ghostly encounters on the battlefield. But why? Are these visions psychological manifestations, the result of trauma and exhaustion? Or do battlefields truly become spiritual graveyards, trapping souls in the devastation? Some researchers believe that ghost sightings in war may be linked to stress-induced hallucinations. When the mind is pushed to the brink, it can begin to fill in gaps, creating phantom figures and shadowy movements and eerie sounds. The combination of sleep deprivation, adrenaline, and fear can make soldiers see things that aren't there, or perhaps things that have always been there just beyond human perception. But what if these visions aren't just hallucinations? What if the battlefields truly trap souls of the fallen? There is a reason, perhaps, why it isn't just soldiers who see them, but people years later who go and visit these places that have re-established civilian societies. What about those who didn't experience the war and are still encountering these apparitions and sounds and visions? Many cultures believe that violent, sudden deaths can leave spirits wandering, unable to move on. Soldiers who die in war often perish far from home, their deaths abrupt and unresolved. Some believe that these spirits remained tethered to the battlefield, replaying their final moments in an endless loop. The theory aligns with residual hauntings, a paranormal concept suggesting that intense emotional events leave behind an energetic imprint, like a recording that plays over and over. This could explain why soldiers and civilians report hearing phantom gunfire, distant screams, and spectral figures marching through the ruins. Perhaps they are witnessing echoes of the past. Some paranormal researchers suggest that war creates a thin line between dimensions, a place where the boundary between the living and the dead is at its weakest. The overwhelming grief, terror, and loss may act as a sort of gateway, allowing glimpses into the afterlife, parallel realities, and even interdimensional entities. Could it be those soldiers, in their heightened states of awareness, are more attuned to the supernatural? In these moments of extreme fear and adrenaline, they are able to see beyond the veil, witnessing spirits that linger in the afterrealm. Quantum physics suggests that reality may be far more complex than we perceive. Theories of alternate dimensions, parallel universes, and hidden energy fields raise the possibility that soldiers weren't imagining things. They were seeing something real. One of the most compelling ideas in quantum physics is the multiverse, which suggests that our universe is just one of many existing side by side in a vast cosmic web. Some researchers speculate that certain conditions, such as extreme emotional states, altered consciousness, or even advanced technology could allow brief glimpses into these parallel realities. Could the red spectrum night vision goggles have acted as a window into another dimension? If these goggles altered the way soldiers perceived light, they may have inadvertently turned into a different frequency of reality, revealing entities that exist beyond our normal perception. Quantum entanglement is the phenomenon where two particles become linked, influencing each other instantaneously, no matter how far apart they are. Some theorists believe that the interdimensional beings could exist in similar ways, connected to our world, but operating on a different plane of existence. If the red spectrum goggles somehow interacted with the quantum fields, they may have allowed soldiers to perceive entities that normally remain hidden, and this would explain why soldiers saw winged creatures. Very briefly, they were visible through altered optics. Many paranormal researchers believe that certain locations, especially battlefields, act as thin spots between dimensions. If war itself creates a rupture in reality, then soldiers may have been more susceptible to seeing beyond the veil. The human eye is an incredible instrument, capable of detecting millions of colors, adjusting to different light levels, and perceptions of depth and motion. But despite its complexity, our vision is limited. We only see a small fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum, and our brains filter out much of what we perceive. Could altered conditions, whether through technology or heightened awareness, allow us to see beyond our normal limits? Light travels in waves, and the human eye is tuned to detect a specific range known as the visible spectrum, which spans approximately 380 to 740 nanometers. This range includes red, orange, yellow, blue, indigo, green, and violet, but excludes infrared and ultraviolet light, which other animals can see. Our eyes rely on photoreceptor cells, rods, and cones to process light. Rods help us see low light conditions, while cones allow us to perceive color. However, our vision is highly dependent on contrast and movement, meaning that under certain conditions, we may perceive things differently than we normally would. One of the most fascinating aspects of the human vision is peripheral awareness. While our central vision is sharp and detailed, our peripheral vision is more sensitive to motion and faint light. This is why people often report seeing shadowy figures or fleeting moments out of the corner of our eyes. Our brains are wired to detect subtle changes in our surroundings, even if we don't consciously register them. Some researchers believe that peripheral vision may allow us to glimpse things that our central vision filters out, whether due to low contrast, rapid movement, or even altered states of consciousness. Many animals perceive the world in ways humans cannot. Bees and butterflies can see ultraviolet light, allowing them to detect patterns on flowers that are invisible to us. Snakes use infrared vision to track prey by detecting heat signatures. Birds of prey have exceptional motion detection, allowing them to spot tiny movements from great distances. Even household cats and dogs can perceive visual information differently, even faster than humans. While their color vision is limited compared to humans, they do have far superior motion detection, which allows them to react quickly. These differences raise intriguing questions. In moments of heightened awareness, when the body is pushed to the limit, does the brain begin to perceive more than it was ever meant to see? There are theories that suggest under extreme conditions the human brain might bypass its usual filters, granting access to a hidden wavelength and unseen entities. Parapsychology is a pseudoscience that explores phenomena that defies conventional science, including ghost sightings, telepathy, and altered states of consciousness. Researchers in this field argue that the battlefields are primed for paranormal activity, and they buy into the more supernatural belief of what was occurring with these night vision goggles. Skeptics argue that battlefield ghost sightings can be explained through psychological and physiological factors like sleep deprivation, exhaustion, and trauma, making soldiers seeing phantoms or figures. Additionally, optical illusions and environmental conditions such as fog, smoke, and shifting shadows can create ghost-like images, leading to reports of phantom armies and soldiers. Despite skeptics, war-related ghost stories persist across cultures, from phantom battlefields at Gettysburg to ghostly soldiers marching along the beaches of Normandy. These tales have been passed down for generations. Yet for all the legends, one thing remains undeniable. When reports of strange sightings became too frequent, too difficult to explain, the military acted swiftly. Their decision was immediate: erase red spectrum optics from combat use. No further experiments. No official records detailing why. Just silence. Perhaps they knew the answer, or perhaps they simply didn't want to find out. One way or another, war leaves behind more than just ruins. It leaves behind questions that may never be answered. War has always been a place where the veil between the worlds feels dangerously thin. While the debate continues between parapsychology, altered states of perception, supernatural folklore, or just mental exhaustion, it is important to remember that the human mind is a powerful force. Fear, exhaustion, and the chaos of war can shape reality in ways that defy logic. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't stop questioning, searching, and wondering. The mysteries persist, legends endure, and sometimes the things that haunt us the most aren't found in the shadows, but within ourselves. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and let the unknown guide you. This is Amanda Joy, signing off.